Hi everybody, Joel from RC Max UK. It's absolute foggy and freezing, but I've had a little bit of time to sneak out. So I've headed to a local park called St Albans Park here in Hertfordshire. This is a spot I used to use when I had things like the MT4 G3 back 4 or 5 years ago, I suppose. And there's a couple of humps here and bumps, so I thought it might be a good little spot to run this, the GX1 Growler. I used it at Bashfest briefly, and it was very good. It's very fast. It's a very solid car. I've got the GoPro on there for a bit of GPS to see how fast it is. So let's see how fast it is first, and then let's see how well it jumps, because I haven't really jumped this yet. Here, it's really wet, it's really foggy, it's freezing cold actually as well. But yeah, should be fun on these humps and bumps. So I'm just going to go for a bit of a speed run here, as the batteries are brand new. It looks to me like that's about 40 miles an hour, I think. Wow. Hi guys, what a total waste of time that was. Oh, I've got a really bad chest. I took the Growler out, the GX1, the version 2, 8S, LiPo's all charged. Excuse me. I dragged it down the hill here in St Albans to go and run it. It's freezing cold, wet and horrible. I wore trainers, my feet are soaked within about 2 seconds of walking down that field. I got there to the nice little spot, hopefully you'll see it on the video, and basically ran the car past once or twice, and then I can hear that the gearing, there's something wrong with the gearing. Either the drive gear is stripped inside the gearbox or something. Now the way it's designed, it's kind of a sealed motor onto the drive gearbox, which is good for keeping crap out. So I'd happily run it in the sand and stuff like that, and it would be fine. It would be really good for that, and that's actually what I'm hoping to do with it. Take it to the sand dunes and run it with some sand paddles on and stuff like that. But it's bad. It's bad because it's sealed, that if you have a problem like this, a drive gear problem, you've got to really take the whole back out and open up that sealed gearbox and have a look and see what's inside. It could be something like a stripped or even a backed out grub screw holding on a pinion gear, or what's the pinion gear in there, which is a bit like a diff out drive gear going into the diff. The motor's mounted, it's got this odd kind of gearbox in there. So it could be something very simple that normally in an open setup you could just access. In this case it's not. So I've had to drag the car all the way back up again, and obviously didn't get to run it well. Now, in the defense of the car, as I like to kind of explain things a little bit so you get an idea of really what's happened. I used the car at Bashfest. It ran well, but I did stop using it because I had a crash. I had a couple of big crashes. There's a load of fifth scales on there. If you get tapped, you know, at full speed, you're going to go into a big flip and stuff like that. And it happened a couple of times. And the cage on the car is very strong. It's very well protected and the car is very solid, but it is quite heavy. And both times the car was fine. Nothing broke. Even though they were proper endo, you know, endo, dush, 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 sort of crashes. But I stopped because the car lost drive. So I got them to pick it up off the track. And I thought I'd stripped a gear. When I got the car back off the track and turned it off and had a look at it and took it back to the car, I noticed that all that had happened is one of the wheels, I think it was either a back or front wheel. I think it was a back wheel, I'm not sure. No, it was a front wheel, had got wedged into the steering knuckle. The actual beadlock, inner beadlock, had got wedged in to the steering knuckle, the pin at the bottom of the steering knuckle, and the front wheel wouldn't turn. So when I was pulling the trigger on the stand thinking I'd lost drive, it was just unable to move. It was like the front wheel was locked on. Now that could well have stripped a gear, or that accident could have stripped a gear. So now I've come out here, ran it very briefly, although I didn't make a noise initially, but all I did was a speed pass, and next thing I know I've lost drive. So it seems very odd. So I'm expecting that crash has had some effect to it. But anyway, I'll stop rambling now. Lost drive with the GX1. Something's grinding up in the back. I'll look into it and get it sorted and give it a go again. You know, you got to show RC reality, right? Sometimes things don't work. Sometimes things break. Sometimes you waste your time, you know. But anyway, it's now for sale, the GX1. I think it's through a European distributor. If you go on eBay, I think, or even if you just Google it, UFRC GX1, it will come up and you can see it for sale. I think it's about £800, I think. I can't remember, which, for what it is, the size of it is reasonable, although I don't think it's quite RTR, so you'd have to look into it and see what you get for that money, but it seems okay. Obviously I like bargains, so I'm always looking for cheap but good stuff, or for cars to be maybe a bit cheaper than they really end up being. So anyway, have a look for it if you want. I'll try and put a link and find it myself in the description. So anyway guys, take it easy. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.